into an equally critical topic, cybersecurity and data protection. As Africa continues to embrace digital technologies, ensuring the security and privacy of our data is paramount. To shed light on this important issue, we have Kimma Wreh, an expert in cybersecurity and data protection, who will provide us with key insights and strategies to safeguard our digital future. Please join me in welcoming her to the stage.
Born and raised in Liberia, West Africa, Kimma earned a bachelor's degree from Howard University, followed by a master's of business administration from Liturna University. She's currently a doctoral candidate for a Doctor of Engineering degree in cybersecurity analytics from George Washington University. With over 25 years of experience, Kimma has lent her expertise to information security, audit and compliance at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise and ExxonMobil. Kimma serves as Chief Information Officer of Excel Global Media Group Inc. Additionally, she holds the Certified Information Systems Security Professional, Certified Internal Auditor, and CompTIA Security Network Plus, and more certifications. Moreover, Wreh also operates a nonprofit vocational training school in Liberia that empowers women with disabilities via computer literacy and tailoring skills.
And here she is.
Thank you very much for having me here today. I'm very excited. As you saw on the profile, I'm a doctoral candidate at George Washington University, and so it was so appropriate, and I'm so excited to actually physically be on campus today. Today, we'll be talking about Africa's digital economy and growth. We'll also discuss cybersecurity threats, the challenges and the risks that we face in Africa. We'll also cover the regulatory framework and, in specific, the Malibu Convention of the African Union. I will also be discussing risk mitigation strategies. What can we do to mitigate the risk of cybersecurity crime and data protection in Africa? And why is it important to invest in cybersecurity? What is the future of cybersecurity in Africa? And I'll end with a call to action. So basically, Africa's digital economy is increasing. Rapid increase with internet and mobile connectivity. We see an increase in e-commerce, financial technologies, and smart cities. So as of January 2024, Nigeria had more than 103 million internet users, the highest number reported all over Africa. Second to that was Egypt, with about 82 million internet users, followed by South Africa with 45 million internet users. We had about 18% of cybersecurity attacks were in the financial sector. The telecommunications sector had about 13% of the financial cybersecurity attacks. Government agencies experienced 12%, and organizations from the trade, 12%, and in the manufacturing and industrial sectors, 10% of cyber attacks were launched. And again, that was from the beginning of 2022 to the first half of 2023. So Africa's cybersecurity challenges, as I discussed, the rapid digital expansion, that presented security challenges, right? Data breaches, fraud, attacks on digital platforms. Africa's cybersecurity challenges include a lack of infrastructure, low levels of cyber hygiene among users, not understanding, how to protect their architecture, their infrastructure. Many African countries struggle with inadequate funding for cybersecurity initiatives, and that results in outdated systems and insufficient resources to implement robust defenses against this increase in cyber attacks. There is inadequate harmonization across the cybersecurity policies and regulations across African nations, leading to fragmented approaches that complement international cooperation and effective response to cyber threats. Cybersecurity challenges. So this graph is showing an exponential growth in terms of financial losses. in terms of the trend. It's very alarming. 2.7 billion in 2018 to now 10.3 billion in 2022. In terms of the cyber attacks, the losses that Africa is experiencing as a result, there was a 50% increase from 2021 to 2022. And that also depicts the great urge for improved cybersecurity measures. When we talk about critical infrastructure, you're talking about your power grid, your energy infrastructure, your transportation, healthcare, your water, your banking. And these attacks are increasing in more over time, leading to this exponential loss that Africa is facing as a whole. And this means that keeping such threats from happening, or at least mitigating their impact, requires incomplete measures of cybersecurity for critical infrastructure protection. So the top cybersecurity risks in Africa, I had to boil this down, the top 5, because there were quite a few. We have the mobile and your digital cybersecurity, financial fraud. That's one of the top. That's identity fraud, account takeover, when they take over the your banking account. Fraud, SIM card swap fraud, mobile money fraud. So there's a lot of risk in that area in terms of mobile and digital financial fraud. Then you have your insider threats. That's the people working inside that have the authority. They're working in the organizations, and they're supposed to protect us. But they're also the enemy within. And that's a big threat, because they're also part of, some of them, not all of them, but there's a risk there in terms of insider threats for cybersecurity. Supply chain vulnerabilities. We had several incidents of that, CrowdStrike, MoveIt. That's reliance on third-party software, not having adequate assessments and controls over the third party, and leading to supply chain risks. And then you have data privacy issues as well. Identity is one of those. And then cyber attacks. We're seeing increasing ransomware is the major cyber attack that Africa is experiencing. And frankly, it's a global issue. We also have business email compromise. That's when they send the email, intercept the email, and they're able to get financial information or money transferred to the hacker. Phishing is another big one. Social engineering attack, that's also a big risk in Africa. Not knowing, people need to be educated. We'll talk through the solutions, on that type of attack and how we can mitigate that. So let's talk about that. What are the solutions to Africa's cybersecurity risk? Now, there's no one solution here. I want to be clear. It's going to cover multiple layers, multiple levels. So we have the continental level, we have the regional level, the country level, and private enterprise and civil society, non-governmental agencies. We all have to play a role to be able to mitigate the risk of Africa's cyber security. Okay, so let's talk about what we can do at a continental level. We have the African Union, the Malibu Convention. I'll talk also about the Smart Africa Alliance, which was endorsed in 2014. It's a commitment from Africa heads of states and government to accelerate Africa through affordable access to broadband and usage of IT and communication technologies. Okay, so the African Union has a convention on cybersecurity and personal data protection called the Malibu Convention. It mandates every member state within the AU to develop a national cybersecurity policy and strategy, and to establish institutions and procedures to identify and respond to cybersecurity incidents, to promote cybersecurity principles and to ensure international cooperation. In terms of cybercrime, the convention has directs the states to adopt domestic legislations to criminalize acts that affect the security, confidentiality, integrity, availability of information, technology, data, networks. So they've essentially criminalized cybercrime. The Malibu Convention also has provisions for data protection and also requires every member state in the EU to establish a data protection framework that is aimed at strengthening fundamental rights and public freedoms, particularly protection of physical data, and to punish any violation of privacy without prejudice. This framework is to be monitored and enforced by a National Data Protection Authority, the DPA, with administrative independence. They have their own budget and a duty to ensure that the processing of personal data is regulated. Today, there's about 36 out of 55 African countries that have a data protection law. So that means there's 16 countries that do not have the data protection legislation. Okay, so what can we do at a regional level? At a regional level, we can have cybersecurity alliances, and we can also have this common regional reference architecture. And I'll go into more detail on the next slide. So when it comes to leveraging the alliances for tighter governance and controls, we have the ECOWAS Regional Cybersecurity and Cybercrime Strategy that it was developed to foster cooperation among member states to combat cybercrime and secure cyberspace. Then you have the Common Market for Eastern and South African and Southern Africa, COMISA, also has a cybersecurity strategy aimed to reduce cyber risk and enhance trust. Then you have the Southern African Development Community, SADC, that helps guide member states in drafting laws and to prevent and respond to cybercrime. So there's a lot of laws, not just at the national level, but also at the regional level, as you can see. So we'll talk about the country level. At a country level, solutions include strengthening public and private partnerships, building secure infrastructure, artificial intelligence and machine learning. As you know, that's a big deal. Everybody knows a lot about that. But we need to foster more innovation in that area. And then there should be more government reforms, government-led regulatory reforms. And also, we need to work at a country level on building cybersecurity skills and awareness. So public and private partnerships, they form the bedrock of improving cybersecurity infrastructure because it allows expertise and resources to be involved. In specific, there are some examples of that. For example, the Cisco networking program has trained over 1.5 million students across Africa in IT and cybersecurity skills. Microsoft also has a cybersecurity engagement center, and that has trained more than 50,000 professionals, and it also provides threat intelligence as well. So having more of those things are going to be very helpful because we have an estimated 100,000 plus vacancies in cybersecurity across the continent. Okay, another solution is building secure infrastructure. So, for example, the data centers in Africa have evolved from simple facilities to an advanced ecosystem that powers cloud computing and financial technologies, all the way to telemarketing, online education. Essentially, in the early 2010s, undersea fiber optic cables reached Africa. And that led to this exponential boom. The internet came about, the exposure to the internet, the penetration into that area. And there was a massive demand for storage. Can you imagine all the data that we store trillions of data that needs to be stored due to this digital revolution. So Africa needs to invest more infrastructure, more data centers, more systems. South Africa is the first tier 4 data center, and it has that offers a significant leap in securing digital assets. For example, Africa is home to over 100 data centers as of 2023, dominated by South Africa, Nigeria, and Kenya. So another way we can help solve the cybersecurity issue is through a country-level solution, stimulating cybersecurity investment. By strengthening cybersecurity, we create a safer business environment. It can enhance investor confidence and attract foreign investors because it demonstrates a commitment to protecting sensitive data. Governments in Africa can stimulate investment by offering tax breaks and funding grants to companies that prioritize cybersecurity. And that's a way to help address the threat landscape, the cybersecurity threat landscape. So programs like research grants, government-backed innovation funds can encourage businesses to invest in cybersecurity solutions. And that has been done in Brazil and in India. For example, Brazil offers tax incentives for tech startups. In India, cybersecurity grants have helped to spur local innovations. So we'll talk again about other solutions for Africa's cybersecurity risk, again at the private sector. Private enterprise and civil society can leverage AI and machine learning, enable blockchain, and facilitate cybersecurity innovation hubs. Those hubs are academic environments, also where students and individuals can learn about cybersecurity and also innovate and come up with new. We need a Silicon Valley, of Africa, and we can do that right there in Africa through private enterprise. So let's talk about AI. Through AI, machine learning can transform cybersecurity because we can automate threat detection and response. And that's an area that's dear to my heart because that's actually the practice I'm working on, is designing an intrusion detection system using federated machine learning for Internet of Vehicles. We can absolutely use AI to detect cybercrime and stop it, basically reduce the reliance on manual labor through AI and reduce the costs. By adopting AI-based cybersecurity, African governments and businesses can improve efficiency, reduce costs, and protect their critical infrastructure. AI-driven solutions are particularly valuable for addressing the growing number of cyber attacks, which rose by over 300% in Africa between 2020 and 2021. And you can see on the chart the difference between the adoption of AI technologies in Africa, with 45% adopting AI technologies and 55% have not. Still room for growth. Okay, another area that private enterprise and civil society can do, another solution, is in blockchain. Blockchain is a secure digital network that uses cryptographic techniques and decentralized ledgers to make transactions secure and to stop unauthorized access and tampering. This is quite crucial. It's being used within the financial and the health sectors today. In Africa, there were about 241 million cyber attacks this year alone. And blockchain can play an important role in enhancing security. Not only that, it can help with decentralized identity solutions. It can also inhibit or mitigate the risk of identity theft, for more than 50 million Africans that lack formal identification. It can save about 60% of fraud costs And in healthcare, it can keep patient information private and help to prevent counterfeit medications that's responsible for the death of 100,000 people annually in Africa. Another area is the future of cybersecurity, in Africa. It's estimated that by 2030, the cybersecurity market in Africa will be valued at more than $14 billion, with increasing advanced digital technology adoptions and substantial defense strategies being the driving factors. The growth of smart cities can further rapidly advance IoT, that's Internet of Things, and also the 5G cellular networks, creating more opportunities and making them more vulnerable to cybersecurity. Smart cities in Africa include Lagos, Abuja, Cape Town, in South Africa, Cairo. These cities they have a lot of smart technologies and smart homes. Today in the US, we have a lot of smart cities and smart homes, smart TVs. Everything is internet connected, smartphones, and all of those things. That's the future because Africa is very heavily in the digital world. But we also have emerging technologies, coming down the pipeline, quantum computing, zero trust architectures. Those can also play a key role in the future of cybersecurity strategies. So building a cyber-resilient Africa. In the lead up to developing a cyber-resilient Africa, advanced technologies should be leveraged through the development of local expertise and regulatory framework, so Africa can have a secure and an innovative, prosperous digital economy. Cyber resilience basically assures global businesses and investors who seek the economic growth and technological advancement in Africa. All these call for proactive implementation of cybersecurity. So we need critical infrastructure protection. We need personal data security. And we need to increase the reach of our digital services. When these take precedence, Africa will be leading by example in cybersecurity and data protection in the global economy, and it will have a safe digital future. My call to action today is that Africa's digital future depends on the strength of its cybersecurity. Governments, businesses, organizations, individuals should unite to prioritize cybersecurity and data protection. We need to invest in artificial intelligence, machine learning, advanced technologies, and foster cross-border collaboration across countries, regions. We need to protect our critical infrastructure and secure the digital economy. We need to enforce cybersecurity and data protection laws and regulations. Enforcement is key. You've already seen that we have a lot of laws already in place. We need to enforce it. It needs to be put into place. There need to be penalties if people don't follow those rules. That's very important. We need to empower the next generation of cybersecurity professionals. We need to train, we need to increase training and awareness for the next generation. We need to build a resilient Africa where innovation thrives safely and securely. That ends my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kimma, for that comprehensive presentation on cybersecurity and data protection.